I'm just tired of this nasally BS, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, if I was nicer to our listeners, I would edit out every sniffle you have.
Every slurp
and every
slorp.
Yeah, every heavy breath I have into the microphone.
Every breath you take.
Every move you make. Da, 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 break. I'll be watching you on namely90s.com/YouTube.
Blur.
Welcome to Namely 90s. Wow. The podcast that takes you back to the time before smartphones, Google, and Y2K. Join your hosts as they relive the pop culture that shaped a generation and the parts that many people wish they could forget. Listen in to the conversation about how the decade defined those who spent their childhood there and how it shaped them as adults. So, turn down the grunge and dial up the internet. Let's get started. It's time for Namely 90s.
That's right. You're listening to Namely 90s. My name's Andrew, and over there's Brandon.
That's me.
You can find us online at namely90s.com or on Twitter and Instagram at namely90s with a 90s. You can also find the show on YouTube every Monday at youtube.com/@namely90s. And if you'd like to support the show, head over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/namely90s and get signed up for one of our support levels. Hello.
Hello.
And welcome to Namely 90s.
Okay.
The podcast about the 90s that we produce.
I feel like you're a little broken today. I don't know why.
Yeah, no, it's just, I don't know. I think I have indigestion.
I'm sorry, was I not being a good scene partner? Should I have yes and did that?
Like, no, and also shut up. That's what I Okay. Yeah, how are things?
Good. Yes. Well, I'm 3 beers in, so I'm feeling good.
I'm a half a glass of water in.
I am also half a glass of water in for the day, so tomorrow's not going to be kind to me.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't know what to do with you.
I've been in Sacramento a bunch of times.
Fun. I feel like we talked about that already.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about me going, but I don't know. Did we talk about me hating people on airplanes? I think we talked. Well, maybe we didn't.
No, I think that was a private discussion that we had.
No, I was talking to you about the whole, like, people just yammering into their phones loudly, like conducting a performance review of an employee in the gate seating area.
Yeah, that was definitely a text message.
Well, it's like, if you have YouTube, you know, you can look at me. This is how I talk on the phone. I get a phone call. I go, oh, excuse me, I'm going to step out. And then I like quietly talk into my receiver like this, you know, like this, like a normal person. They're just like, yeah, so we were in Albuquerque yesterday and now we're here. And you're like, there are 45 people sitting directly around you. Do we want to hear your conversation?
Okay, so
No.
question, because I notice this a lot. People younger than us will just walk around with the AirPods in and just yammer and talk. Well, normal conversation, like the amount that you're having, like lower volume, not the back in Albuquerque.
Some of them do use the excess volume. I think part of it's because your ears are plugged, so you talk louder. Most people do that. Like if you can't hear, you talk louder. But what I've noticed about my earbuds is I can just talk in a regular, like, conversational voice like this.
Yeah.
And it picks it up without any issues.
Same with my AirPod Pros, because they have the adaptive noise control or the transparency mode.
I have mine does kind of both. I have the Bose, the badly overpriced sound equipment earbuds.
Yeah, these headphones are Bose, and they're falling apart.
My Bose, I am really happy with my earbuds. But
I like the QC 25s and 35s that I have. It's just the foam's kind of falling apart, as you can see. After
it's funny because QC stands for quality control, as it's just falling apart at the seams.
I believe it stands for quiet comfort when it comes to Bose, but that's correct. QC is quality control. Speaking of quality control, have you seen the new Turtles trailer? I forced you to watch moments ago.
It was really fascinating. It's using that new animation style called total bullshit.
So, I think it's like a blend. So I did a little reading up on it. Like the turtles designs I think it's called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. And it's a new Seth Rogen helmed Turtles movie that's animated, but it's like animated like a mix between like clay and Spider-Verse animation. Like it had some of that Spider-Verse quality to it, didn't it? I thought it.
Yeah, I think part of it is like what's happening here is that Seth Rogen has realized that he can't make adults laugh, so now he's going to try making children laugh.
True. But like I read the writer or designer or whatever, it might have even been Seth Rogen. I don't know how he fits into all this, but it was a doodle of the turtles. Like the reason they look so malformed is because that's how they drew them as like a teenager or a kid.
Right.
And they're like, oh, let's just make this the aesthetic of the movie. Which I both hate and think looks okay because it kind of has that, again, Spider-Verse feel to it that kids will enjoy. It's not my favorite, but and you also can see that they are broadening the demographic in which they are trying to pull in with these turtles by having the trailer have A Tribe Called Quest's Can I Kick It play during it. And April O'Neil is now black, which is cool.
Joe Rogan is Seth Rogen's dad, right?
Well, I don't even think they spell Rogan the same way.
No, they don't. I don't know.
And for reasons they've been split for a long time. But yeah, but the funny thing about Can I Kick It? I was editing a different podcast, one that I actually edit. Screw you, Namely 90s editor. Yeah. And I was trying to find, maybe it wasn't, I don't remember exactly why, but I was looking for like some sort of filler music or something, and I got on this like off-topic course of this rabbit hole of this was actually for my side accounts. I was trying to find non-offensive hip-hop music for a video, and so I went down this whole rabbit hole of like these clearly white mothers named Karen making lists on the internet of non-offensive. I can't even make the joke, but you know what they would say. Non-offensive, this type of people music.
Yeah.
For your children to bop out to. I was just like looking at these lists and like
Christian hip hop, I find, is the most accessible.
Well, so Can I Kick It was on a lot of these lists because they're like, it's just a great non-offensive.
I'm assuming it means can I have sex with you?
No, I don't think. Okay. No, but it is about just being able to kick it with in the group. But you're right. It isn't it's not just like, hey, can I hang out with you?
You're also probably like toking up, like.
Well, so the story behind this is that Tribe Called Quest, I believe they're based out of New York. They're East Coast hip hop, and the background of the song, as you probably noticed, was Lou Reed's "Walk on the Wild Side," who Lou Reed and like rock kind of took over New York in, I don't want to say the 80s, and kind of stole from like black culture to, how rock and roll stole. Right. Yeah.
Well, I don't know what you're saying. Are you saying the word tribe?
Yes, A Tribe Called Quest.
Well, they're already culturally appropriating another culture, so it evens out somehow.
There are African tribes, I believe.
Oh, okay, fine. I'll give you that. Anyway, I always think more of Native American or First Nations people.
That's fair. But the song is about trying to take back or like find their place in the New York music scene because they're unsure if they're allowed to be there / they're trying to take it back from the white people that took from them.
Yeah.
Essentially. And that's the theme of the song. And like on the white mommy blogs, it's just a great song for little Johnny to just like move his caboose to. It's like, Jesus, effing crisp.
I did like that. Reminds me of the meme that you sent me the other day. That was I had to find it. That was the one. It says, children need to be exposed to healthy heteronormative role models like an adult man with a cave in the garage lined with pornography and his wife who collects hilarious text art about how she chugs wine because you were born.
Yeah, exactly.
The sad thing is how true that is. And it also reminds me of there's this one where this lady's house like had live, laugh, love signs and things everywhere. But then other variations like laugh, love, live, and there were just like hundreds of them in this woman's house. It's like, do you just buy everything from Hobby Lobby? That's my question.
Yeah, it is kind of, well, I guess we didn't even talk about that in our 10 minutes are up, but you know, there a lot of not cool stuff has happened in the last week.
Yeah. It's gotta be said.
Yeah. Like trans rights are being attacked. A lot of LGBTQ, like anti-LGBTQ plus bills are in motion in red states. Some are passing. And we just want to say, well, I personally would like to say that's way to go, red states, where you believe that you shouldn't be oppressed by governing laws governing you, but only if it applies to your way of life.
And that's a relief because bump stocks and high capacity magazines are still available for purchase at your local neighborhood Walmart.
Yeah. And that's what was the children rifle brand that you showed me?
One time? It was the JR-15.
That's what it was. Yeah.
You've got to be kidding me. It actually made me really happy because there's a little like gift shop, like kitschy place near us that was selling AR-15s that were geared toward children, like not real ones, but toy ones.
Yeah, fair.
And they went out of business. And I'm just like, that serves you right. Take a hike.
Well, I mean, that's what happens when you live in the western side of the state.
Eastern?
Or the eastern side of the state, excuse me.
Yeah. Well, boy, I think we did it.
Should we summon Ferbdon?
Sure. Let's check in with our disciple of the Lord and Savior, Jewel.
The Oscars have been a staple in Hollywood for decades, but many people believe that the award ceremony was much more interesting in the 1990s. From the glamorous gowns of the nominees to the varied and unexpected winners, the 1990s Oscars had something for everyone. In this discussion, let's explore why the Oscars were so captivating during that time and how the event has changed since then.
Well, I don't think anyone got slapped back in the 90s, to be fair.
That's fair. No one got slapped.
Hauls off and just slaps that guy.
No one accidentally said this movie won Best Picture only to have a different movie win Best Picture.
Was that Steve Harvey again? No, that was a different thing.
Steve Harvey did something too, though. I feel like
he
was it a name? He messed up someone's name.
It was the wrong like Miss America or Miss Universe or something.
That's what it was. Yeah,
he has those scary teeth.
They're just very white. Can I say that?
No, but I'm going to send you this.
Okay.
We're just exchanging memes while trying to podcast. Sorry.
So I saw an article written years ago that's quite rude. It was when the Oscars were interesting in the 90s. I forgot what website it was from, but the article was by Jenna Revek.
Looks like Cold Culture, spelled Culled.
Thank you. And it was just a little blurb about how in the 90s the Oscars were interesting. So we're just gonna go through this and see if you remember any of these. I'm gonna say I don't, but apparently this is pop culture worthy. In 1990, heavyweights like Daniel Day-Lewis and Oliver Stone were sane and making a comeback with the win of cinema. Oh, Italian cinema was making a comeback with the win of the film Cinema Paradiso.
I guess all I know is that Daniel Day-Lewis played the late Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, yeah. So I guess he got back on the rails.
Yeah. it was kind of a shot in the dark, but
Yeah.
and then okay, there's a small presidential assassination joke for you, and Oliver Stone. There's a Family Guy bit where they're like, "We now return to Born on the 4th of July 2, Born on the 5th of July."
I do remember
It's
that.
like Tom Tucker says something about how like he's a dangerous individual or something. Oliver Stone.
Mm-hmm.
That's always funny. That's really all I know. Didn't he do like some sort of Vietnam movie too?
I always thought he was a fictional British Cockney character who wanted more porridge. Was that Oliver Twist? That's Oliver Twist. In 1991, Madonna performed Sooner or Later and showed up at the Oscars with Michael Jackson. And they claim this is the biggest pop culture moment of any decade, really. I don't even know what that song was.
I feel like it sounds. I think it's a song by the Bare Naked Ladies, actually.
Soon, I mean, there's that Pearl Jam song that goes "Sooner or Later," or no, it's the English beat. Save it for later, and then they cover it in a different song. 1992, Anthony Hopkins won for The Silence of the Lambs, and Beauty and the Beast was the first animated movie to be taken seriously by the Academy.
Wow.
Also, the Oscars was yesterday, if you're listening to this, so that's why this is exciting.
Right.
In 1993, the best trans movie of all time, The Crying Game, was considered for a nomination. I'm going to editorialize here. I don't think that necessarily depicted trans people in a great light, that film.
But it will be banned in all red states.
Yes. Actually, that's probably the reason why most red states are afraid of trans people. Yeah. Anyway, Marissa Tomei, it got a nomination for Best Picture. Marissa Tomei, and if I'm wrong, if there are trans listeners out there that disagree with me, hit us up on our Twitter and correct me. But I, from what I remember of The Crying Game, it was set up very offensively.
Perfect.
Yes. Marissa Tomei gave a lively acceptance speech for Best Supporting Actress in My Cousin Vinny, which I'm still surprised you've never seen. And Aladdin won Best Original Score for Let Me Show You the World, sung by white people. In 1994, the Academy gave nominations for Philadelphia and Schindler's List. Schindler's List. Liam Neeson. Yeah, Jinx. 1995, Quentin Tarantino gets in with Pulp Fiction. He wins with Pulp Fiction and beats out Forrest Gump. Also, yeah.
I don't think. I mean, I've never seen both movies in their entirety. I don't really like either one of them, but I might actually go for the Tarantino flick above Forrest Gump.
I think Forrest Gump's a good movie. It's a long movie though. But I love me some Pulp Fiction. But that's surprising you said that. I think you like most Tarantino movies.
I just don't get. I guess I don't get Forrest Gump.
It's just a story about a mentally challenged individual.
Exactly. I guess I just don't get what the hell's the point. Like that's how I feel about that movie.
What's the point of Pulp Fiction?
Yeah, that's fair. I'm just saying it just feels very like I can't think of the right
slice
word.
Of life.
Right.
I think it was fun to see what they could do with the technology to splice Tom Hanks into all of those historical events.
That is pretty cool, especially back then.
Yeah, and it was based off of a book by the same name, so I think it's just like a sweet story about a man who probably has AIDS now.
Well, which is interesting because of the movie Philadelphia, where Tom Hanks portrayed a person who had AIDS.
Actually, no, sorry. Jenny gets HIV after she has it
was quite a story device.
I don't remember.
Then.
Yeah, it was definitely a way to end the movie. It's just like, oh, yep.
That was the last time the Republicans wanted to wear masks, so they didn't get AIDS from people. Remember?
That's true. Yes. That was close to the 80s.
HIV,
yes.
I should say, but it was the 80s. You're right.
Yeah. But yeah. And Haley Joel Osment shows up in the end of that movie as the kid, as the widowed, or I don't know. 1996. Mel Gibson gets nominated for Braveheart. 97, Cuba Gooding Jr. Gets an Oscar for, what was it? I don't even remember. It was definitely not The Nutty Professor, though. They won an award for best makeup.
Best fat suit.
Essentially, that's what it was. Because the 90s. 98, Good Will Hunting. Titanic gets a nod for My Heart Will Go On. As Good as It Gets, LA Confidential all get nods.
But again, I still have to... Did we ever talk about how they left Celine Dion off? Rolling Stone left Celine Dion off their list of the top 200 singers of all time.
That's shocking.
That's crap.
But it's Rolling Stone. It's not like...
Yeah, but there were the other powerhouse sort of female singers were in there too. I think it was just a major omission.
That's a snub then.
Yeah.
Finally 99. Roberto Benigni. It doesn't even say what his film was. Great article.
Yeah.
2016, Jenna Revicio.
So are some of these things direct quotes from the article?
This is entirely just like the bulk of the art.
So she's the one who said Cuba Gooding Jr. proves that black people bring way more excitement to the Oscars with their acceptance speeches.
It was written in 2016, though. That's just I'm gonna leave it at that in her defense.
You can't see me making a face right now,
unless you're watching us at YouTube.com.
And that was in quotes, I will say. But wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Well, you were saying it in quotes. She said it.
No, I'm saying it in quotes. So
yes.
Don't quote me, but wow.
Yes. And apparently Italians are more, according to the logic of her article, Italians are even livelier than black people during acceptance speeches.
The article was written by Giovanni Ribisi. Is that what you just said?
Gina
Revicio. Okay, it has all the same sounds. Jenna Revicio.
Yeah. So that is that.
It should just say, it says Gina Revicio, February 29, 2016, film / pop culture / light racism. No, it doesn't say that part.
And yes, just to be clear, that is literally the body of her article. And then there's like a sentence to start it and a sentence to finish it. Yeah. That, any Oscar memories from the 90s that you can think of? I can't.
No. Do people watch the Oscars now? Maybe more after last year.
Yeah, probably this year. But I don't know. If you watched the Oscars yesterday and are now listening to us talk about the 90s Oscars, drop us a line at Namely90s on Twitter and Instagram. Preferably Instagram, but if you DM us, I might not see it for like a week or two. I don't really look at the incoming DMs.
Yeah, slide into our DMs.
Just comment it on the episode.
And now let's go to Brandon for the Namely 90s Minute.
Welcome back to our mid-episode break, Namely 90s Minute. Every week we look back at a culturally relevant show, movie, or piece of pop culture that probably helps stoke the algorithm. This week, in honor of Scream 6 hitting theaters, we're looking back at the first Stab film introduced in Scream 2. Stab is an American slasher film based off the events of the first movie, directed by that guy that made the Spy Kids franchise. The film stars Courtney Cox's brother on Friends as Courtney Cox's ex-husband, Donna Martin from Beverly Hills 90210 as the older sister from Party of Five, Dr. Smith from the Lost in Space reboot series as Jennifer Jolie as Monica from Friends, not Owen Wilson in Wedding Crashers as live-action Shaggy from the Scooby-Doo movies, Batgirl as the sister that replaced Shannon Doherty on Charmed, Owen Wilson's brother as Jughead's dad from Riverdale, and Roller Girl from Boogie Nights as the little girl that screamed at E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Okay, technically some of those were spoilers from Scream 3, and others were just joke dialogue that never manifested. Scream 2 also stars Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Quinn from Sliders, Cobb Vanth from the Star Wars Disney Plus shows, Niobe from the Matrix franchise, Lindsay Bluth from Arrested Development, Jackie from The Conners, and if I list any more actors in this thing, we'll be out of time. Sorry, Pacey from Dawson's Creek. Scream 2 opens with 2 murders by the hands of Ghostface. At the sneak peek a stab at the college Sidney Prescott is attending. Reporter Gail Weathers and the rest of the news media show up to cover the story, as well as Dewey, the police officer from the last one. Sidney and her new bestie Haley attend a sorority party the next evening while Ghostface kills at another party and then attacks Sidney after the party she is at is over, but is unable to kill her. They start to notice that the new Ghostface is killing people with the same names as those in the previous film, and Jamie Kennedy returns to do his meta commentary about how they're in a sequel, and eventually he gets murdered in this one. Officer Dewey gets stabbed while helping Gail with footage of the crimes. Ghostface murders Haley while she and Sidney are en route to a safe house with some police officers. Sidney flees from the scene and catches up to Derek on campus, and they get monologued at by Ghostface, who reveals himself to be Mickey, who promptly shoots Derek and claims he wants to get captured so he can blame all his murders on violence in movies. His accomplice, Debbie Salt, a news reporter, shows up, and Sidney instantly recognizes her as Billy Loomis's absent mother. She wants revenge for Sidney killing her son, the murderer, in the last one. Debbie betrays Mickey and shoots him, then Cotton shows up, who is the guy that Sidney originally sent to jail for the rape and murder of her mother prior to the events of the first movie, and it turns out that Billy and Stu had framed him, and Debbie tries to convince him to murder Sidney, but he kills Debbie instead. Mickey pops up again, and then they kill him and double tap Debbie just to be sure. The movie ends with Dewey alive and Gail going to the hospital with him, and Sidney trying to shift the media attention from herself to Cotton. And that's Scream 2 in an Amy 90s minute. More or less.
And now, back to the show.
Okay. I didn't really have a Zordon prompt for this one, so there's a new DC movie coming out. The DC universe, the DCEU is finally dead a decade after it should have been killed. But they're still releasing Shazam! Fear of the Gods this week, and the Flash movie at some point, like May, I don't know, which will erase everything, and then it'll become James Gunn's DCU. Yeah, so there's a DC movie. There's a lot of Batman movies in the 90s, so I made a game called Kiss from a Rose, Batman. It's the Letterboxd review game.
Ooh.
Yay, Andrew's favorite. There were 3 live action Batman movies during the 90s. Hopefully Andrew has listened to my Namely 90s on all of them, so he's familiar with everything that happens in those movies. And I'm going to read a review and see if you can guess which Batman movie it is from. So, for example,
the problem is you say Batman and I immediately stop listening.
Yep, that's gonna be the fun part. This review, 4-star review from Ruben, says Michael Keaton be like, and then it's just lips emoji, and that is for the 1989 Batman movie. All right, so are you ready, Andrew?
Sure.
I will give you winning queer conditions if you get 2 of these correct.
It's going to be bad.
I know. That's why I said 2 of these correct. Do you even know what the Batman movies are from the 90s? It's Batman Returns.
Batman Begins?
No.
That was a newer one.
That was the first Dark Knight movie. It's Batman Returns, Batman Forever, and Batman and Robin.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and the confusing part is Batman Forever introduces Robin, and Batman and Robin introduces Batgirl. But I've definitely talked about that many, many times. So let's start off with I don't want to say easy one, because then you might think it's easy. 2.5 stars from Patrick Williams. What used to be the, quote, worst superhero movie ever, end quote, is now a weird relic from before the superhero movie boom. The time has been oddly kind to it. We've now seen so many gritty and /or grounded takes on these characters, so many serialized sequels and interconnected universes that this feels special, even if it's not especially good. What Batman movie was that?
Seems like Batman Returns.
All right. That is incorrect. That was Batman and Robin.
I didn't know there was a large gap between them.
There really isn't.
The hell's that guy talking about?
Well, between Batman and Robin and now, this is 2019. Remember Letterboxd review?
Oh, right.
Sorry, my bad.
But it's one of those things where like that dude just used so many words to say basically Jack.
Correct. It gets better. Let's try this one. Half a star from Alyssa in January of 2023. This movie is the reason for everything wrong in the world, and I hate it, and it sucks, and it's the worst movie ever. Which of the 3 90s Batman live-action movies is this?
I want to go Batman Forever.
I'm sorry, Andrew. This is Batman Returns. Still batting 0. Okay, let's shake it up. Shake it off. You got this. Shake it out. You can do it. All right. Let's do this one here. Another half star from Marky K Mark 91 in January of 2023. Worst movie sequel I've seen in years. Worst movie sequel I've seen in years. What movie is this? Worst movie sequel I've seen in years.
Batman and Robin.
I'm sorry, this is Hocus Pocus 2.
Yeah, I knew it. It was coming. That's what she said.
Okay. Let's get back to 90s Batman movies. This one says, I guess I'm in the minority, but I don't think this movie really dives... This movie really dives into who Batman really is at all. It certainly talks about his feelings of responsibility after his parents' death and guilt over not doing something for Gotham, but it still feels pretty surface level. I just found the drama in this to be very uninteresting, and the action sequences certainly didn't make up for that. 1.5 stars, Shark Crossing, 2022.
This person needs a hobby. Batman Returns.
Actually, this is from another 90s Batman movie from Batman the Animated Series, Batman Mask of the Phantasm from 1996, which was also a 90s Batman movie.
Is the phantasm like a ghost orgasm? That's what it sounds like?
It is a female Batman villain, the Phantasm, and Bruce does make her ghost orgasm, I guess. Okay, where did we leave off? Half star from Bad Billy. I don't have much to say about it, honestly. It was just very, very boring and stupid. The acting was bad. The sets looked overly cartoonish and shit. Guess we're good in E-tag on this one. I was completely uninterested in it the whole time. Andrew, did you write this? I almost wish I had a passionate hate for this movie, but I can't even be bothered. At least it's kind of better than Batman and Robin, I guess. What Batman movie, live action Batman movie from the 90s was this?
Batman Forever.
You got one.
Yeah.
Well done. Batman Forever. I'm surprised you managed to pull that out. Is it because they gave you a 50-50 there?
Yeah, pretty much.
Fair enough. You got a point. You need one more to win, and this doesn't end until you get another point. Next up, we have 3.5 stars from Nat. I had a smile on my face the entire movie. The first one is iconic. This one could have been a disaster, but ended up being quite entertaining, a worthy sequel. What movie is that
It
from?
sounds like Batman Returns.
Final answer?
Yes.
That is incorrect. That was Hocus Pocus 2.
That person is on drugs.
Yep. Their icon is Hermione Granger. All right. Sorry to do that to you again. I couldn't help myself. Mostly because this one's a very long one. That's what they said. A half star. Thomas Feehan, in October of 2022. One of the worst movies of all time is coming to Blu-ray in 2025, the sequel to the 1989 movie Batman Forever. It is widely considered a hellhole of a movie, and many people who have watched have died from old age. Story time, I was walking down the street past my local 7-Eleven. I said, why not go buy a Slurpee? I couldn't afford it because they changed it to $1.50, so I went to the register and said to the guy, you are very ugly, but deep down I want to love you, but I have to kill you. I pulled out my Thompson, and the guy was screaming. I said, say hello to my little hell. I shot him and walked out. I began to become thirsty because I didn't have enough money for the Slurpee. I stood on the road for 2 days straight, and it began to flood. I got in my car, but after 9 minutes, it wouldn't run anymore because I ran out of gas. The current was pushing hard, and the car tipped over. There was no way out as my car was submerged in water. I pulled out my Samsung fridge and went on Foxtel Plus, in parenthesis, not sponsored. I found Batman Returns and thought it would be good because I had watched Batman Forever 9 years ago. I began to watch and I was disgusted at what I was experiencing. The water was at chin level and the movie just finished. I screamed in pain and looked for my pistol. It was too far to reach. The water covered me and I breathed my last breath. I looked at the outside and died. Just so you know, he name checks 2 90s Batman movies and also the original 1999 Batman movie, which he calls Batman Forever. So I'm not sure he knows which movie is which is why I included all the names as written for this one. Which Batman movie did he watch?
I'm confused. These 3 are all in the 90s, aren't they?
Batman Forever is is the one with that introduces Robin. Like I said, it's the middle one of the 3. He said Batman Returns at one point, which is a 1992 movie. And then he calls the movie he watched the sequel to Batman Forever, which would be Batman and Robin. So, which movie did he watch?
First of all, I think this person did one too many hits of acid.
I'm fairly sure he was alluding to something, but I'm not sure what it was. Or it could be Hocus Pocus too.
Batman Forever again.
I'm sorry, that was Batman Returns. I literally read it at one point in the review.
Well, that review was so all over the place. How could you understand a word said?
He calls the 1989 Batman Forever to start it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what threw me off.
Oh, yeah. All right. Next up, let's go with this one. Half a star, Josh XD. This film effing sucks. It is boring as... I'm just going to curse. It's boring as shit. The lightning is dog shit. The script is actively bad to the extent that I'd rather have watched Batman raw dogging whatever shitty attempt at a villain was presented here. And the quality of acting was not even laughably bad. It was just bad. I'm sincerely flabbergasted by how this film received any international praise. Somehow the memes created were better than this film. It should be used as a CIA torture method. Which live-action Batman movie was this?
I want to go with Batman and Robin.
That was 2022's The Batman. Sorry.
Featuring Rob Bat and Bat.
Featuring Rob Bat and Bat. The memes were the best part. He wasn't wrong. Sorry, I just keep throwing in all these other Batman reviews. I don't know what I'm doing. Half a star, Cyrus King. Awful acting, awful casting, awful villains, unlikable main characters, too many ice puns, effects that have aged like milk, obvious green screen, bad lessons, awful jokes, some bizarre moments, the Bat credit card, Robin complaining all the time, weird leaps in logic, and just the defacing of a classic superhero icon.
Batman Forever.
I'm sorry, that was Batman and Robin, the movie that features Arnold Schwarzenegger as...
Couldn't remember. I just keep guessing the same one because eventually, statistically, I'm going to get it right.
Correct. That is what we hope. Because the game doesn't end until you get one more point. Which is why I can keep doing this. Next one. 4.5 stars. Patrick Willems. But wait, it happened at sea. C? C for Catwoman? This movie is a masterpiece.
Batman and Robin.
Well, actually, the Catwoman thing was supposed to make you think Batman Returns, which is the one that has Catwoman in it.
No, you said Batgirl. That threw me off. Oh, God. I thought I confounded.
This was actually a review for Batman 1966, the Adam West movie, so you're fine. Batman Returns has Catwoman, Batman and Robin has Batgirl.
Unreal.
Yep. You'll get out of this hell eventually, Andrew. Don't worry.
It's really bad.
Yeah. What do I have left? I have this one that I'd like to read. Half a star. Kyle McMahon. Get a shrimp fork and poke both of your eyes out. That way you won't ever have to watch this train wreck.
That's it?
That's the review.
Batman Forever.
That is Birds of Prey and the Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, which Batman appears in.
I'm going to kill you.
I know, but it was just so worth it. These reviews are unhinged. All right. Last one. Maybe two more. Half a star by Drew. Every time I thought it couldn't get stupider, they did it. They made it even more pointless, stupid, and boring movie. Incredible.
Hocus Pocus 2.
Sorry, it was a review for 2019's The Joker. All right. Serious last one here. I think. Let me see what I have left. I have this one. For all the marbles, Andrew. 2 stars from Rin. Bat nipples. Bat.
Oh, no.
Nipples.
I remember them well, but
yes.
Which movie?
Which movie?
Was
it one of the 90s live action movies?
What is? I don't remember.
I mean, that's technically correct, but not the answer.
Batman Forever. Needs to be right again. Thank you.
Batman Forever. That is correct. And you're now free of this hell.
I would just like to say.
Yes. Out of the 13 films that I gave you, 6 were of the original 3 that I highlighted at the beginning of this game.
I'm going to say something here.
Yes.
84 years of Batman. I think it's time to hang up the cape.
Cowl is
whatever. He also has a cape.
That's true. But
I think it's time to hang it up. Also, it's not the late 1930s anymore. Like Batman. It's so uncreative. It's ridiculous, you know. But back then, nothing had been invented yet, so it was very creative.
I have 2 more unused ones, and I just want to read this last one here. Actually, I have 3 more unused ones. A half a star from Asomers05. Made fun of my friend relentlessly for initially saying he liked this. Felt bad, but we all had to grow up at some point. And that was for Suicide Squad with Will Smith. Jared Leto is the Joker.
That movie slaps. My favorite thing to say about Will Smith movies.
Oh, wow. So, should we close out with the Namely 90s Oscar nominees for Best Podcast?
Sure, that was deeply unpleasant, by the way.
You didn't have fun?
No.
Oh, the other thing I was going to end with was to let you free was the review worst comic book movie ever, which is something written under literally every single one of the movies that I used as to get
right.
my
Yeah.
out. Yeah. Yep. So let's do a little end. Nominees for Best Podcast go to The Lake House 2, Even Lakier, starring Keanu Reeves, Julia Roberts, and a bunch of people talking about putting their junk into a mailbox.
You've got 247,000 unread messages, starring Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan's lifeless corpse.
She's Not All That, starring not Rachel Lee Cook, Freddie Not Prince Jr., and not Paul Walker. The Queen's Hamlet, a story about the Queen in a small town where they don't know she's the Queen.
Batman 38, The Batmaniest,
Starring Val Kilmer, George Clooney, Michael Keaton, Ben Affleck, Robert Battenbat, and Christian Bale.
And of course, who could forget No Pulp Fiction, the movie about the person who becomes enraged because his orange juice has too much pulp in it.
And the winner is No Pulp Fiction.
Which, ironically, is a true story.
Well, what an award ceremony that was. And that's it for this week's edition of Namely 90s. And we can find new episodes out every Monday. Join us next week for another deep dive episode. Find us on Twitter and Instagram. You know what? I think we're going to be done with Twitter very soon, if not within a few weeks. Can't post anything. Can't upload anything. It's the timeline's borked.
Elon's a lunatic.
Yes. Did you see how he disparaged? He fired some handicap worker that was working to pay off the money they owed him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We might just be Instagram for a while.
The only thing more tragic than that is Elon Musk's hair plugs.
Find us on our personal Twitter accounts. Doesn't matter anymore. Tell us what you want us to talk about in future episodes. If you'd like to support the show, please check out our Patreon at patreon.com/namely90s, also with the 90s. Finally, you can also contact us through our website, namely90s.com. Please subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Audible, No Pulp Fiction, Deezer, TuneIn, iHeart, Good Pods, wherever you get your podcasts from. I'm Brandon. That's Andrew, and we'll catch you next time. Orange, you glad I made that joke?